orderly, well-managed, well-disciplined world of the establishment. It is made possible by the Protestant ethic. Work is noble, worldly achievement the sign of God's favor. But not everyone embraces these hallmarks of success. In each city across the land, there exists another culture whose very philosophy and way of life rejects the fierce competition and its material rewards, and in so doing, refutes the order and discipline of the establishment. The hippies, perhaps more than any other social phenomenon, brought the drug issue to the surface, for most of them are children of middle-class and upper-class families. Thousands of snapshots on police station walls remain the only link between many of America's most affluent families and the children who embodied their great expectations. Nearly everyone in the hippie community smokes marijuana, whether they call it pot, grass, hemp, gauge, joint, or Mary Jane. The marijuana is the basic background for the shared drug experience. The experience is shared to such an extent that roach pipes are always in demand. A roach is a marijuana butt, and it requires some form of holder for those last few drags. The new generation, whether they are runaways or rebels in residence, use marijuana as a symbol of discontent with the basic values of the establishment. For some, there exists a social imperative beyond flaunting society's rules. For these adventurers, the mind-expanding drugs open a window on a whole new frontier.
We're lost in a beautiful energy, an energy of life, an energy of love. It's the energy that's in every living entity. It's that energy that we can't know about before we're born, and the energy that's going to happen to us when we die. But we know about the energy before us, man and woman and child and animal. Not kill animals, not kill a fly. And if we love all that energy, we'll love life so much that we'll never die, because you'll be so sure that you're part of God and part of that life energy, that universal poetry of love.
The use of LSD, particularly on the college campus and even in hippie circles, is on the downswing. Recent publicity linking the drug with severe psychotic reactions, chromosome breaks, and serious birth defects has had a sobering effect. In the runaway colonies, those who forsake LSD seem to move in one of two directions: meditation or method reading. First, the meditators, often ministered to by a guru or swami. They band together in communes, attempting to live a Thoreau-like existence. They are relatively harmless, true flower children, soldiers of peace in a gentle revolution. The second group finds its kicks liquefying on a hot spoon. Method reading, perhaps the fastest jolt found so far in the amphetamines, can be counted on to provide a 6-hour surge of euphoria. But it is accompanied by psychological dependence from which withdrawal can be a serious problem.
So I tried methadone, which I liked, which I became very addicted to. And then from there, the actual suicide attempts have been in the last 6 or 7 months, the real one. Oh, the attention I got, I was sent to a psychiatrist who taught me how to play chess at age 9. I wouldn't talk to him. So then my parents got quite upset because of the money they were spending. So then I tried again. They took me away from the psychiatrist for a while and changed schools on me. And then from there, several more attempts like swallowing aspirin, cutting my wrists, which doesn't work because blood coagulates and so forth. I called my parents and I was addicted to amphetamine bisulfate crystal, which is that you shoot and it's crystal. You know what that is. And I called them and I said I was addicted. I wanted to come home. I'd do anything. I conform to your standards, your rules, so forth. Go to LSUNO, be the perfect model of everything. And they said, no, you upset the family, and sent me off to Oregon. And I withdrew 5 days cold turkey on a Greyhound bus going to Oregon.
Methadone, LSD, heroin are the exception with the drug community. Marijuana is the common denominator. It's used universally within the hippie cults, in the ghettos, and in the high schools of every social and economic level.
As a rough estimate, I would say that at least 10% of the students have used and are using marijuana. Now, the frequency may vary, and it's pretty difficult to estimate, but also probably a very significant thing is that acceptance is gaining steadily, and the usage is really increasing very, very rapidly.
But with marijuana comes eventual confrontation with the law. Even though many authorities consider it less harmful than alcohol, its mere possession, in the eyes of the federal statutes, brings a minimum of 2 years and selling a maximum of 40.
Listen, if we got a few seconds, I want to say something about what happened to Barry McGuire. Barry McGuire wasn't holding any grass, and he wasn't doing anything. He got busted anyway. And he's on his way down to Malibu jail now, and his wife is trying to get him out, and they're not holding any bread.
They've been known to plant things on you, like if you're in a place like, say, the Seven Seas, they'll plant something in your pocket if they want you. And they don't even have to find something. They could find an empty matchbox, and by the time it gets to the lab, it's full of grass.
Norm and his friends. This time New Orleans is the pad. But the complaint against the establishment remains the same. Why should the adults put us down? They have their own kind of drugs, coffee, cigarettes, and a host of synthetic crutches that range from sleeping pills and tranquilizers to Benzedrine, but mainly booze.
Nationally, really, the marijuana laws nationally it's just a thing by the alcohol companies to keep their thing going because, who'd drink if they had grass, man?
I feel that marijuana is a beautiful drug because it's much safer than alcohol. LSD, heroin, smack, speed are no good because they will wreck a person's physical composition. That we do not allow. We started this club as a thing because a lot of our members are tired of a lot of society's rules. We like to be ourselves. We like to go out, get high, ride bikes, and do what we want to do. Because we wear these cutaways, it's a symbol of unconformity.
San Francisco, New Orleans, and New York. Each city has its own legion of disenchanted youth, each casting its dissenting vote against the establishment. The ballots may be written on marijuana, methadone, or motorcycles. But in each case, they are putting us down, and the vote is an international one. Britain, traditionally the very seat of the establishment. It's ironic that after 9 centuries of greatness, this conservative kingdom in her maturity should give birth to the hippie.
It's
hard to live like a beatnik. Sometimes you've got to sleep on the fields or on the street because you've got no place to go, no place to sleep, no money. I first started taking drugs in Great Britain. Drugs became popular among the world's yacht. Just because first started the different pop groups like the Beatles, the Stones, the Yardbirds, the Kings.
A phenomenon throughout Europe, the Middle East, and many parts of Asia is the constant migration of young people, an international beatnik set permanently drifting. In Rome, the gathering spot is the Spanish Steps. For the enterprising migrant with surplus drugs in his rucksack, there are ample business opportunities.
I know how to earn money out of it. If I bring a hash from Istanbul, or from Beirut, or from Morocco, or from Northern Africa, which is very cheap to get it there, you can get a whole kilo, sometimes with 5, 6